I'm in the process of rebuilding the 116 amp. These three two-section electrolytics is 30-10, 30-10, 30-10. Two of the 30s were in parallel, and I could have probably looked for a 60 or an 80 mic single capacitor, but I opted to put 33 mics in. Here they are. Here's one, here's the other one, all hooked to the same circuit. So here's the two that replace these two 30 mic capacitors in parallel. This 10 mic to ground is right here. That's the 10 mic to ground on that line. And then this one here, 30 and 10, here's the 30 and 10 up here. Now you see those chassis mount resistors I have, that replaces this two-section can-ohm resistor that some other technician had bypassed years ago. I remember he used this power resistor that was mounted right about here. I've eliminated that with this one here. And then the melting 650 ohm resistor, he had it originally mounted right here, and of course putting it there, heat goes up, and of course these capacitors were always heated up from the heat from this resistor. The reason the resistor burned up like it's melted here was because of this shorted, the capacitor that was here was shorted, so I've replaced that. I couldn't find an 8.5K power resistor that was a chassis mount, so I put this one in, and there's a small 0.01 to ground that's new. So far, that's where I'm at with rebuilding the amplifier. I'm pretty much done with this amplifier, rebuilding it. Again, this two-section can-ohm resistor was replaced many years ago by another tech that put these in. These are my replacements to those right here. That's where the can-ohm was originally located, on that side. I replaced these mica mold 0.01 capacitors with these mylar caps. Here, these film capacitors. I didn't replace these are real mica capacitors. Those do go bad, but not very commonly, so I opted to leave those in. I already know this amp works. Here are the three safety caps I installed. There, I glued those with silicone onto the top of the chassis. So this amplifier, as far as I'm concerned, is as rebuilt as I'm going to rebuild it. I'm working on the changer, replacing parts and lubricating what I think needs lubricating. But the main thing is the three, I should say, studs where this thing mounts actually on the deck inside the console. The springs, the original springs, the three springs were rusted away. One was still intact enough where I was able to send Gary at VM Audio Enthusiasts a picture of it. So he sent me three replacements. These are pretty close to what was in here, and they go on just like that. And then there's springs underneath when this screws back together, but those are okay. I've put some WD-40 on all three of these studs because they were so rusty. You know, I bought this piece from the grandson of the original owner who purchased this thing new, and considering the way this thing was treated, especially the fact that they moved it up from the basement to the garage so that they could sell it to me, and they tipped it on its top and slid it up the steps, which gouged the top of the woodwork pretty bad. It was water damaged anyways. I can't imagine that people, wouldn't have wanted to keep this for the family and keep it in good condition, because it cost his grandparents probably close to $1,000 to buy this new. Anyways, I lubricated the motor. I put replacement rubber mounts. These things were pretty rotten, so I got 3 new rubber mounts in there, and pretty soon, as soon as I get this thing done, I'm going to test it. Well, I have it working. Here's a 45 playing with the, I have the original stylus on here, and the LP stylus is kind of bent, so I'm going to just play this a little with the 78 stylus. Hopefully that won't trigger the you're taking money out of my pocket algorithm. I'm going to try a 33 on it. The automatic changer part of it is kind of gummed up. I got to take it apart again to see if I could free it up and lube it. These are very difficult to take apart. I've never done this before on one of these turntables. I worked on the other Webster that I have, but this one is quite different. But I'm going to try a 33 on it. But the last thing I have to do to this is get all these wax paper wax capacitors changed out. But this thing is working fine. The changer part of it is gummed up. I'm going to go into that and fix that. There's no need for me to put that on camera, but I'll never use this as the automatic changer. I never stack records. I always play them one at a time. But this thing plays 33s just fine. So this will be the end of this part of this video. I'll do all these paper wax capacitors. I'll change out. I want to change the 2 electrolytic cans that are on here, but boy, I don't know how I'm going to do that. This is really congested with parts, so I'm going to have to investigate that, and maybe even not change those. They don't get warm, or do they? I don't know. I'll have to make a decision on those electrolytic cans, the 2 cans that are on here. This is all done. The only thing I have to do here is I have to put the 5Y3 rectifiers in place. I don't want to use a solid state rectifier, but everything in the amplifier is done. It's rebuilt. Turntable works fine with the new parts. I didn't put the new stylus I got for it in because I'll do that the last part. I also have to find a C-clamp. This is missing the C-clamp off of the turntable, so I have to find that C-clip and fix that. But the parts I got from VM Audio Enthusiast fixes turntable just fine. It runs very well. So that'll be the end of this video for now.